Okay? Gary Gan here from beautiful Malaysia. Yes, hello, Daniel Shoesmith. I hope I spelled your name correctly. And hello, everybody. Oh, Dr. Kun is here, all the way from Cambodia, too. Sovuti, Nori, Shireen. Um, okay, so I guess some of you guys right now outside of your window, as I can see Shireen's window, it's bright, sunny. Right here, we are preparing for bed. So that's a beautiful thing when you are doing a business that is global, right? And I still remember in the early days, I used to tell people, I said, "Hey, do you know how nice I'm in a business where while I'm sleeping, I'm still making money?" So people are like, "Wow, what?" I mean, we are talking of like 13, 14 years ago when I started. It's like people is asking, what do you mean? I said, yeah, because my team in Europe and my team in US is just waking up. I'm going to sleep, right? So this is so fantastic. And today, more than ever before, with the power of the internet, you get to do this in so much ease, so much, how should I say, you can just do everything in the comfort of your own home. Okay. And before I call up our star of today, just let me share why are we doing this? Because when I started this business 14, this April will be my 14th year. There wasn't much, especially in this part of the world, in Asia, like Malaysia, Indonesia, Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, Hong Kong, China, India, even. We don't have much resources and knowing what people in the West, like the Western Hemisphere, are doing, the people in America, people in Europe, Australia. So as I told myself, I said, if one day I get to be successful in Enagic, one of my goal, and probably that's very in me because I love to network, People call me the loudspeaker. They can hear my voice from like, I don't know how many blocks away. Okay, anyway. So I love to network, and therefore I took it as a passion of mine to just network with all the people, especially leaders, top producers, successful people from all over the world. And I told myself, I said, I'm going to bring them to Asia, especially because that's where majority of my network is. And that's what I've been doing. And wow, Charger, we have been doing this for the last how many? Like this is our, I don't know, maybe our 8th year, every single month for the last 8 years. Can you imagine? Time just fly just like that, right? So yeah, so I'm so happy. So later, Charger will be sending out the YouTube link, and I'll be forwarding it to Tristan, of course, our star of the day. And yeah, feel free to share this link and go into our YouTube. You can see the countless interview that I've done with all these people, and they are amazing. Every single one of them shared amazing golden nuggets that you can learn and you can actually benefit for your Enagic business. Okay, so without further ado, that's why I want to share. I hope that whatever our star today is going to share, even if you take in 1% and you put it into practice and it changed your life, it means the world. And I have done my part. I'm so happy. Okay, so my role is basically trying to bring out as much golden nuggets from all these star of the day. All right, so without further ado, today we have a very amazing person. I first met this person and I was like, every time I look at his Instagram, IG, it's like, wow, this guy keeps running and in the mountain and kayaking and wow, this is like one of those extreme sports guru. I said, wow, okay. And personally, myself, I also love the outdoor. I used to do. I love the outdoor. I like hiking. I like running. I like mountain biking. You know. Then I said, wow, maybe one of these days I must meet up with him. And you know what? The beauty of this business, we actually met up, if I'm not mistaken, we met up face to face in Okinawa, right, Tristan?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, last year. Yeah, I met up with you finally. Yeah, then it's like so beautiful. And that's the beauty of our business. We get to not just only making money. Yeah, making money is fun. You know, I always tell people I make $1.20 every single minute for the last 14 years. Every single minute. I mean, this is not a money claim or health claim, but that's a fact. How would you like to make $1.20 every single minute, 24 hours a day for last 14 years? That's crazy, right? That's like, I mean, okay, so money aside, that's amazing. But then again, you have all the time freedom. Where can you find? So if you still don't have enough social proof, bring all your people, come and join and see some of these events. It's really crazy, mind-boggling. So today we have this man. I was told the little that I know. Okay, maybe I would like to get to know you more. The little that I know of this man, none other than Tristan Benwell, from UK, and now living in an area in France. Okay, I'll let him tell you more of his life. But the little that I know of him is that I believe he has also gone through a lot in life. Tristan, if you don't mind, what's your age right now? What's your age right now?
39 now.
You're 39. Wow, you look 18. How come? Must be the water. Must be the kangen water. Okay, you're
When I
39.
have when I
Okay.
have a shave, it takes 10 years off as well.
Okay, okay. And the little that I know and I've seen his posting and all that, I think Tristan has been through a lot in life as well. Emotionally and a lot of things. So we want to hear from him. So from every angle of his life, we want to know, okay, how at the same time he's making it in the Energic business. So, guys, without further ado, let's all put our hands together and welcome our star of the day, none other than Tristan Benwell. Welcome, Tristan.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here,
Yeah,
Gary.
thank
It's,
you.
it's a real honor to be invited
Thank
here
you,
today.
thank
So
you.
thank you.
Firstly, on behalf of my team, Kangen Power team, on behalf of everybody on the show right now, as well as all the people that will be watching your video in the future. Firstly, I'd like to say a big thank you to you. I know you are busy, you have your things on, and yet you take the time to want to share with us some of the things that I am very sure will touch somebody's life somewhere out there. So once again, thank you, Tristan, for doing this.
Very, very welcome.
Okay, so Tristan, tell all of us what was life like before Energic? Because I know you've been through a lot. You even talked about depression. So yeah, that we want to hear. Maybe today is a little bit more on that part of your life journey. So what was
Mm.
life like, and how has Energic in a way changed your life? Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess my story is maybe a little bit unusual compared to the transformation stories that you often hear,
Okay.
in that I've always been very conscious
Mm-hmm.
about the choices that I've made of what I want to do with my life. And with that, even from the young age of 16, I knew that I loved outdoor sports, outdoor pursuit stuff. At that age, most people don't really know what they want to do with their lives, but I knew that I loved that. And I followed that and I went after that. And that allowed me to work in different countries around the world, taking people for adventurous activities. I discovered skiing. And from that place, I then started doing summer seasons, taking people for adventures in the summer, often living in different countries, always living in really cool places with lots of nature and the like, and then spending winters in the mountains skiing. So that was me just following something that I love doing.
So,
And
so yeah, sorry. Tristan, so are you saying that that was already like your dream life? That you are already
Exactly.
living your dream life, right?
Exactly that. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
exactly that. And I think, a lot, and this is why I say I guess my story is a little bit unusual because I think
Okay.
a lot of people they get stuck in a job they hate.
Yep.
They end up stuck somewhere living that they hate, and they then have a desire to break out of that.
Okay.
For myself, I had pursued that above financial gains. I
Okay.
pursued living in a cool place, doing a cool job, something that I love doing. And you would think that I would be really content and really happy with that.
Yeah. Of course, you probably lived in paradise, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
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 Okay.
And I think that was
Yes.
it made it all the more difficult than when I was really hit with depression. And
Okay.
it it came because of that, it came with a lot of guilt and a lot of shame because I felt like what right do I have to feel bad, to feel depressed, to feel like I'm questioning what the point of life is
Right.
and why we're here and what we're doing here.
Right.
Um, but nonetheless, that was where I ended up. And I remember, I remember this one day in particular, I was out sea kayaking with my wife, who's also a really adventurous, cool adventure chick.
Mm.
And we were out. We'd spent the night in our camper van, on an island just off of Wales. We'd been out sea kayaking. We had all the kit that you needed for it. We had the time to be able to go and do it. And I remember paddling out at this beautiful sandy beach around these cliffs with these big high cliffs on the sides. And I remember just bursting into tears and just saying to her, Lizzie, I don't know why I feel so miserable. And I hate that I feel the way that I do. And I've got no right to feel like this. Like I don't know how to get myself out of
Mhm.
this situation that I've got myself in. Um, so it was a pretty difficult. Yeah, it was a horrific time.
Just out, you mean just out of the blue, you had this emotional mood swing that came into you. Just
Exactly.
out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think I I recognize that I recognize now that we all have things that manifest through us, whether it's physical illnesses, whether it's mental illnesses, that they they're often triggered by other things in our lives. It might be some emotional thing that we've held on to or some story
Right.
that we have.
Right.
It continues to work through us.
Yes.
And one of the books actually that really pulled me out of or really supported me at this time was a book called Man's Search for Meaning
Wow.
by Viktor Frankl.
Wow.
And he was someone who went through the Holocaust. He was
Okay.
in a concentration camp.
Okay.
And I remember at one point in the book, he said, everybody has their own version of the Holocaust.
Right.
And it
Wow.
it was it tore me apart when I heard it because I thought, how can you compare what you've gone through
Compared to that guy, right?
compared to me?
Yeah.
Like, and I got what he meant by it of like, it doesn't matter your circumstance, it's the way you look at life.
Right.
And actually, you can be in the most amazing circumstances. You can have all the money in the world. You can be a millionaire, but you
And
can be
still be
depressed
miserable.
and be miserable.
Yes.
Likewise, you can be the opposite. You can be in a terrible circumstance and you can have a great outlook on life and you can be living in an amazing reality,
Wow.
even though your circumstances are terrible.
Wow.
So yeah, I guess in a long sense, a long answer to your question,
Okay.
I ended up in a really bad place and I was questioning what the point of life was. I had a couple of incidences where I really scared myself,
Okay.
almost getting to that point of suicide,
Wow.
where I just felt like I didn't see the purpose of life. I was
Wow.
doing all this cool stuff, but I didn't see the purpose of it. Um, and then I discovered this business, and
In
I
Egypt.
discovered
Yeah.
I discovered a magic, and I discovered
Okay.
the community that
Okay.
comes with that.
How did you come across this platform in Egypt?
So I had part of the discomfort that I was feeling was that I felt like I needed to change something in life.
Okay.
So I was actively searching for something that I could do as a business, specifically online.
Okay.
I'd watched, I don't know, about 100 different web classes. I'd signed up for training, some of them for free, some of them were quite expensive. I mean, for example, I think the most expensive one I signed up for was a 3-day course that was 1,500 UK pounds. So I don't know what that would be in Malaysian.
Okay. About 7,000 ringgit, Malaysia
Yeah,
ringgit. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, so I was actively searching for something.
Okay.
And I then saw an advert online
Mhm.
for someone. It was actually a girl who, the thing that drew me in was that she had an image of her rock climbing on this
Okay.
rock face, and I can't remember the exact wording of it, but it was the image really that I could tell that she was clearly into rock climbing. She was genuinely someone who did that as a sport. It wasn't just a posed photo. She was hanging off the side of this big cliff. She was
Okay.
clearly
Okay.
competent, and there was a connection there of like, okay,
Right.
this is definitely someone who's my sort of person.
Okay.
What was amazing was that when I actually got in touch with her, we
Uh-huh.
actually even had some mutual friends because the outdoor industry is quite a small one. We'd
Okay.
even worked at some of the same outdoor centers, so we had a connection through that online space.
Right.
Um, and she then introduced me to Enagic and the use of Enagic using paid ads as an opportunity to introduce it to people.
Right. So when you found this when you found Energic, you were looking for a business.
Exactly, yeah.
So your entire looking was for a business. It wasn't for health reasons, right?
No, it wasn't. It was specifically to do with looking for a business.
Okay.
Um,
But you already had something you are doing. You're already doing the outdoor thing, right?
exactly, yeah. So I was
Why
full
why are
time.
you looking for another business or something like that?
I I think what it was that the discomfort I felt of being depressed was such that I was looking for some sort of change.
Ah,
And
okay, okay,
I didn't really know what it was even that I wanted, but
okay.
um, I think part of it was taking people for activities is great fun, but
Right.
I was, I guess I was getting to that age in life where I was looking to the future and I was thinking, I really want to start a family.
Okay.
I want to be able to have the freedom to take that family and live anywhere I want in the world.
Hmm.
And I don't want to have to, my wife and I had set up two offline businesses, two physical businesses previous to this.
Okay.
And they were amazing, but they relied on us being in a certain
Yeah.
location,
Yeah.
in a certain space.
Right.
One of them was we actually rented a private island off the west coast of Scotland, um,
Wow.
and lived on our own private island and had people come out as guests, and we took them sea kayaking and amazing business.
Okay.
But we still had to be
Be
on that
there.
island. We couldn't
Yes.
go anywhere else. We had to be
Right.
there.
You're like
Um,
prison. Like a
yeah.
prison to you, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's a great thing to do, but actually, does it give me that freedom of choice to just say, right, we're going to have kids. Actually, I want to go to Malaysia. Let's go and experience the culture in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Let's go and experience the food, the currency, the people. Let's
Yep.
go and explore that. Like for me, knowing that I wanted to have a family and I wanted to be able to give them an education of the world,
Right.
not just the education system that the government offers out.
Yeah, true.
That was a big motivator for me of
Right.
actually I guess I was going through a period of change in life where I was searching for something new to do.
So when
um
you first saw that ad and you said you connected because that lady was doing serious rock climbing. So
mm.
how long did it take you from that first notice of the ad to you signing up and become an Energic distributor?
Yeah, good question. So it was all quite quick actually.
Okay.
So I saw the advert. I signed up to and obviously she was that advert wasn't advertising the product. It wasn't advertising the
Yeah,
water
yeah.
line.
It's
It
more
was
on the
advertising,
lifestyle and the
yeah,
freedom. Yeah.
and the opportunity of
Yes.
a
Yes.
business. Yeah?
Yes.
Which I think is very significant in terms of the online space as well. Is that, you know, when we sell the opportunity
Hmm.
rather than just the product, we then
Correct.
end up with people coming in who want to build a business
Yes.
rather than people who just want the product, which I think is a pivotal difference in, you know, the way that we can choose to. Obviously you can do the same thing. I'm sure you guys do the same thing offline as well. It's, you know, you talk about what the opportunity can do for you, and that's the most impactful
Yeah.
product that that someone can have.
Yes.
um so yeah, I signed up from that. I clicked on the ad. I signed up straight away to
Okay.
a 2 week trial, essentially, where I came into the training platform. Within there, I was introduced to some mindset training, which
Right.
asked me some questions that I'd never asked myself ever in my life, which was pretty transformational.
Okay.
And I was introduced to Enagic and to Kangan.
Okay.
And for me, I prior to that, for almost 15 years, I'd been very conscious of what I put in my body because when I was in my early 20s, I was
Okay.
diagnosed with a form of arthritis,
Okay.
which caused inflammation in my back, in my knees, in my shoulders. Um, so much so that there was a period in my early 20s when I was actually bedridden for about 6 months. I couldn't get out of bed for that
Wow.
length of time.
Wow.
So I'd used diet as
Okay.
part of my recovery from that, but
Okay.
I'd never thought about the effects
Water.
of water. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I discovered the Enagic products, I was like, oh wow, these are amazing.
Right. 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 Right.
And I remember
Yeah.
messaging Ella, who introduced me, and I said, even if there wasn't a business attached to this,
Okay.
I would want to buy one of these machines. So
Wow.
the fact that it comes with a business attached as well, this is like
Bingo. Perfect.
exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. 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 So, but
So
then, yeah. So
yeah, so
it took you some time to check it out before you really want to dive into it, right?
exactly. So yeah, to answer your question, so I had 2 weeks with this trial where I was learning about the business, and
Mhm.
there was water demos in that. There was the explanation of the whole compensation plan within that,
Mhm.
and Leo, shh, shh, shh. Sorry, I'm looking after a friend's dog at the moment, and he's a little bit
Ah,
whiny.
no worry.
Um,
No worry.
so so yeah, that was 2 weeks of that. I actually then got back in contact with her and Lisa, who you know,
Yep.
and I said, I love this. I want to get started. I've got savings. I'm ready to go. Show me how to fill in the forms. Let's do it.
Okay.
And they came back to me and they said, "Oh, it's great that you've got money there available, but it'd be better if you looked up credit options and how to get credit." And and I was like, "Oh, okay, I can do that. Yeah, I can do that." So but I didn't really want to do it, so I put off doing it, and I didn't look up credit options. I had money there available to invest in a business. I'd
Right.
been waiting to do that.
Right. Right.
I wanted to sign the stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
they got back in touch with me like 2 weeks later, and they said, "Oh, so have you done the have you managed to look into credit?" I said, "Look, I'll be honest. I don't want to look into credit. I want to give you the money now. Can you help me fill in the form?"
And they don't want to take it.
Well, so at that point, it's something that Lisa and I laugh about now because obviously,
Right.
you know, it's something that
Right.
in reality you're just like, yeah, if you're ready to go, let's go.
Let's
But how?
go. Yes.
Yeah, it took a little bit of time, but anyway, got there. So probably it was about a month after seeing that advert that I started with a quad. So I got started with 4 products, so 2K8s and an Esper and the Yukon. And then yeah, from that point I was then into learning how to do attraction marketing, how to
Okay.
use uh, social media, how to use paid ads on social media to
Were you a internet person before this?
no, not at
Not
all.
at all.
No, no, not at all.
Okay.
In fact, incidentally, I'd I'd actually, because of where my mind was at
Okay.
before,
Okay.
I saw most things in the world from a negative lens because of where I was at.
Okay.
So I looked at social media as something that was toxic, that
Ah,
was
okay.
destructive, that was taking people's time, that was
Right.
filled with people who weren't yeah, weren't being positive and genuine
Right.
and that was obviously
Of
a reflection
scam,
of
a
me.
lot of scams and all that, right?
Exactly, yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
I'd actually deleted all my social media prior to this, and it's decided that it was something that I didn't really want to be a part of. So it's a miracle, really, that I ended up where I
Right.
was and discovering it all. So yeah, I didn't have any social media presence. I occasionally would put a post onto Facebook or something with an update, but there wasn't any. I didn't have any knowledge of how any of the stuff worked like that, really.
So thank you for sharing that early part of your journey. So let's dive a bit deeper on how you are doing it. So from the time you say yes, take my money, I've got all money already, I don't need financing, right? From from that moment that you started, how long did it take for you to get your first sale online?
Good question. So the first the first 6 months that
Okay,
I started into the business, so I
okay,
affiliated in January 2022.
okay,
Um, and the first 6 months, I was doing some of the bits of the training, but
okay.
in reality, the biggest the biggest shift for me was being surrounded by positive people.
Right,
Having been in such a dark place,
right,
my main focus and my main aim in that time was to wake up every day and not feel like I wanted to end my life, not feel
right,
like I was depressed.
right.
And so I was doing some learning about how the business worked and the like, but for the most part, I was just focused on elevating my,
Okay.
my way
It's
of being.
it's more self development than really building the business, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And that for me actually was what I needed. And I didn't feel any pressure to, I would occasionally get a message from my upline or from Lisa
Right,
saying, what's going on for you? And I was very clear in myself of this is the number one priority. If I can't feel good for myself, there's
right,
no way that I can turn up in the world and be good for other people. I needed to learn to lead myself before I could learn how to lead other people.
right, right.
So for those first 6 months, that was my main focus. And then it must have been, I guess, April, May sort of time, maybe. I the ski season finished. It was like a new season starting. We were coming into spring, which was a beautiful time of year. There's all this new life and new stuff. I was
Right.
consistently feeling good. I was consistently doing the things that people say you needed to do to
Okay,
feel good. I
okay,
was visualization, I was doing affirmations, I was journaling, I had a clear picture of what I wanted to create. And at that point, I went all in on my business
okay,
and I had ads that then started to work. I started having great conversations with people who were the ads that I was putting out were all speaking to people who wanted to live in the mountains. It was a 15-second video of
okay,
me stood in the field just below where I live, and I was stood there with the mountains behind me, and I said, if you're someone who dreams of living in the mountains but you don't know how to make that a reality,
okay,
click the link below. Or no, that was it. If you're someone who dreams of living in the mountains and you don't know how to make that a reality, then starting an online business with automation might be for you. Click the link below for some free training, and I'll have a conversation with you. That was it. And from that advert, I had all my big hair as it is, and but from that advert, I started having amazing conversations with really cool
okay,
outdoorsy people who wanted to live in the mountains,
right,
and I went from I guess I had a period of testing adverts of maybe like a month of actually applying the things that were in the training platform. Between there and the end of that year, I went to 4A and got to
Wow.
4A within that time.
20,
Uh,
20 machines.
yeah, yeah.
Mainly the people that sign up are coming in with trifecta quad or something like that.
Mostly, yeah. The
Yeah.
first two were trifectas. Then there was one just with two products, a machine and the Yukon. Then I had trifecta, two products again,
Okay.
quad, and then another two products. So yeah, that run took me to 4A.
Right.
And at that point, then I obviously had a team of people who I was really excited to work with, and yeah, a lot of those guys are still going now, which is really cool. So yeah.
And now you are at 5A, right? Going to 6A by, you're saying by the next convention.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah. I think actually I've already got the points
Okay.
for 6A, so it's I think there's just a couple more sales to get
Oh,
the
okay. So you qualified the 100 machines already.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's yeah, it's a couple more machines to get to the 300,000 in sales total.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, um, when you, okay, like, do you do paid ads? Like, are you still running a lot of paid ads every day right now?
Yeah, yeah.
How much average do you spend on ads per month, roughly?
So what am I spending at the moment? I think I've got it would be like 600 UK pounds each month, something like
Okay,
that at the moment.
£600. Okay.
Yeah, 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 600 to 700 at the moment.
And
Yeah.
are they converting like every single month or
Yeah,
how?
so well, to give a bit of a backstory on this, so
Okay,
I last year, at the start of the year, my mum passed away.
okay,
Um, And with that, it was quite a long journey of her going through ill health and she was staying in an end of life hospice and stuff. So the beautiful thing with this business is that I was able to just say, I'm going to focus on that now. This is
okay,
only going to happen once in my life. I'm going to put my attention onto that and I'm going to be totally present. Obviously, I still wanted my business to keep going. So in the background, what I started doing was testing more automation that didn't involve me having so much conversations with people and allow
okay,
people just to come straight into the training platform and get started with stuff.
okay.
The reality of that was that although that was a great idea,
Uh,
it was, oh, have I just frozen there? Is that you?
uh, no, you are not frozen.
Sure.
Am I frozen?
I
Or
still
are you?
got you there.
Yeah, you are okay.
Oh yeah, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reality of that was that the this business relies on human connection.
Yep.
So although I was testing all this stuff to try and make things smoother in terms of people being able to come in and just get going with stuff,
Right.
those people who were coming in, they didn't have a connection with me.
Right.
So it didn't actually,
Ah, okay.
yeah.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I think what I learned from it was that although there's some amazing things that we can do with automation,
Mhm.
AI, some of these amazing tools that we
Yes.
have,
Yes.
fundamentally, this business is still about building
People.
connection with people. Yeah,
People. It's a people
100%.
business.
100%. So it's only just been in the last couple of months, really, that I've actually gone back to recognizing that and saying, actually, I was still working with my team. And one of the big things with that was that I was very careful not to say to any of the guys that I was working with, "Oh, come and do this testing with me."
Okay.
We had a tried and tested method that I knew worked. It got me to 4A, it got me to 5A. Rather than saying, okay, come and test all this new automation stuff, I said to them, you carry on doing the system that we know works. And then in the background, I was testing all this stuff.
Oh.
So the reality of that was that my business slowed down in terms of my own. direct sales, my own personal sales.
Okay.
Um, and it's only, like I say, been in, I guess it was maybe like middle of December. Yeah, so maybe like a last month really that I've
Okay.
actually just gone back to this is what works. Let's have conversations with people and let's actually, like you say, create a people business.
Yes. Yes.
Um, so since I've been doing that, my business has just taken off again. So just last week, for example, I introduced another six, seven people, I think, into our training platform.
Okay.
So they're not yet at the stage of actually affiliating.
Okay.
They're at the stage of learning about the business model, learning about some mindset training, getting very clear for them on where they are now and where they want to get to, so that they've got that roadmap for themselves. Um, Obviously, some of them probably won't go ahead with this. Some of them will.
Okay.
And that's really I guess, just like when you speak to people, if you meet them offline,
Yep.
some of those people are going to say no,
Yep.
some of them are going to say
Okay.
yes, and that's all okay.
No
Um,
problem. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. So Tristan, like uh when you build your business online this way, currently you will have leaders in your organization or in your community that is building the business without you, right? Like
Mhm.
active, do you have active moving leaders under you right now?
Yeah, so in fact, one of them's on today, Dan Shoesmith. So
Oh,
he's
okay.
got a great team of people
Wow.
who he was someone who we connected through an advert.
Okay.
He came in through an advert that I had, and he's big into scuba diving. So
Oh,
the adverts that he now puts out are speaking
diving.
to scuba divers and
Right.
saying, I can see Sharon there saying Dan is on fire, and he's
Right. Yeah.
and he's really inspiring people in our community, in our larger community,
Right.
through what he's doing and the fact that we know how we benefit so much
Right.
from that example. And actually, one of the things I'm sure he won't mind me sharing is he messaged me recently about how do I lead more effectively?
Mhm.
And the thing I came back to him and I said was, you need to keep leading by example, keep
Right.
showing what's possible, because that's what inspires people more than anything else to then keep taking action. And not only that, to really instill belief,
Right.
because it's the belief piece that if you believe that it can happen,
Yep.
then it will.
Right. Very interesting. You talk about instilling belief. So, give one example how you managed to instill belief in the people in your team.
Mm.
What do you do
What
to
do I
instill
do?
the yeah
Yeah, so I think the big thing is, yeah, it's a really good question, actually.
yeah
I think the biggest thing that I have learned is that I need to be continuing to bring people in and to keep showing that
yeah
demonstration,
right
um, to keep turning up
okay
as as in the same way that I know that they need to show up.
okay
I think it's very easy once you start to see a little bit of success, it's very easy to sit back. Yeah.
relax
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's
yeah
very easy to
yeah
do that. And you think, oh, I've
comfort
done it
zone
now.
comfort
Yeah,
zone
I've done it. That's it. I can put my feet up. I can
yeah
relax, go
that's
do this
true
thing. And then all of a sudden you realize this isn't actually leading. I need to
right
keep showing what's possible and keep showing.
right
It doesn't even necessarily need to be business results. Like just in the last month, I made the decision I realized that I could do so much more every
okay
day. I could achieve so much more. And to do that, I had to change my paradigm. I had to change the way that I look at life and the amount of time that I have
hmm
and what I do with that time. So I've intentionally been booking in more and more things to do. So, for example, I had the last 2 winters, I've not really taught skiing at all. I've had like a couple of clients who I still love working with, who I still talk with them. This
Mm-mm.
year, I said to Lizzie, my wife, I said, Lizzie, I'm going to do more ski teaching this year because
Okay.
I want to fill my day and actually fill the time that I've got. Like you said, I love running, so I completed a 100-mile running race this summer.
Wow.
So I have to do a lot of training for that as
Right.
well. So like this morning, I got up and I did a 2-hour run in the morning. Then I came back and I've gone out to teach skiing for 4 hours. Then I've come back and I've got you guys that I'm doing this afternoon. I've got some other calls. I've got some work to do,
Right.
and then I've got some intentional time this evening where I'm going to spend some time with my wife.
Right.
But each of those things is intentional, and I'm trying to fit more and more in because I know that when I do that for a long enough period of time, the that's just going to become my normal way of operating. So at the
Right.
moment, I'm still very much in that habit building phase of stretching what's possible.
Right.
But to come back to your question, the thing that I've noticed through doing this is
Mm.
that the people who are in my direct team have started turning up more. They've started
Wow.
getting results more. They've started behaving in the same way because they can see, they can feel
Right.
that same energy coming from me of Tristan's turning up like a boss. I want to be doing that too.
That's true. That goes like the saying, to help others, we help ourselves first, right?
Mm,
Yeah. So it still comes back to leadership by example, showing up, be the best version of yourself. And I'm sure the energy that you emits out touches the people around you. That's
mm,
why they also show up the same thing.
yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, one good question that I like to ask a lot of lately, a lot of the people that I interview that are doing the business online. Do you share the business, or do you share the lifestyle or the benefit of the business offline? I mean, or yours is strictly because I know there are some people who tell me they don't even share the Kangen machine to their own parent, to their own mother. It's strictly online, strictly paid ads. What about yourself, Tristan? Do you like share it with, let's say, your ski students or people that you see along the way, or it's just purely 100% online?
It's a good question. I think it's not something I've ever intentionally done offline.
Okay.
But what I would say is I it's something that I do talk about if people are interested in. So in the same way I shared that my diet over the last 15 years has been transformational in terms of my personal health,
Hmm.
it's something even with that that when I'm talking to somebody, if they're interested in their health, if they're interested in diet, and that conversation just naturally comes up, then I'll share with that. But it's something that there's so many polarized views with that. You know, you could be vegan, you could be carnivore,
Right,
you could be
right, right,
paleo,
right.
you could be fruitarian.
Yeah,
And
keto.
exactly, yeah. I've never liked getting into the conversation of like pushing something onto
Okay,
somebody. But if
right.
somebody's there and they're saying, "Oh, this really interests me," then I'll have a conversation. So I do have some friends who, in fact, the first product sale that I made
Mhm.
was a friend of mine who he lives on the just on the foothills of Mont Blanc, and he runs a gin distillery. He's a really
Okay.
cool guy, lives up in the mountains. And I was around at his house one day, and he said, "Oh, Tristan, I need to get one of them water thingies off of you." And
Ah,
I said, "What water thingies?" And and he said, one of those water thingies. You told me about it like last month or whatever.
ah,
I mean, I said, you mean a water ionizer? I said,
ah,
when did I even talk to you about that? And he said, oh, you mentioned it like last month or something when I saw you. He said, I need to get one. I said, are you sure? I said, they're quite a
costly.
yeah, they're quite a costly bit of equipment. Like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, I know. He's like, I'm serious about my health. He said, I need one. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, great. Well, let's fill in the forms and we'll get it done.
Okay. So that's your offline sales, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And even like another example, just last week I was skiing with a client,
Right.
and she was telling me about
Yeah.
she has a bowel problem
Okay.
with
Constipation.
some she's had a few operations of removing some things within her bowel.
Okay.
And I said to her, oh, that's quite serious, you know, that you do need to be quite careful with that. I'm guessing you're quite into your health and stuff. And she said, yeah, you know, I actually run this magazine. It's a health magazine.
Mhm.
And we got chatting about things. Again, I didn't at that stage I didn't mention anything about
Okay.
Kangen or this.
Right.
And then I think later in the week she was chatting about some of the affiliate things that she does with her magazine. And I said, oh, that's kind of what I do online. And she said, oh, I don't even know you do stuff online. I said, yeah, I work with this company that make water ionizers. And she's now come back to me and she's like, oh, I'm really interested in this. Like, can we have a look at stuff?
Right.
So yeah, I guess it's not something that I wouldn't go
Okay.
out of my way to intentionally make sure that it's something that I speak to everybody that I meet about. But
Okay.
for those people that it does resonate with, for the things it comes up in conversation with, I'll have those conversations. But yeah.
Right. So if let's just say, okay, so when someone asks you what you do, you don't literally tell them about your, okay. So if somebody, let's say I'm a stranger to you and we are sitting in an airplane and I just ask you, so Tristan, what do you do? I mean, like, wow, you stay up in the mountains, you get to enjoy all this amazing lifestyle. What do you do? Do you in a way introduce energetic to them through a certain way of talking, or you just keep it with your outdoor thing, or how?
Yeah, so I'll tend to mention both things. So
Okay.
I'll tend to say my career, my life up to recent years has been taking people for adventures
Yes.
and taking people for summer adventures, winter adventures. But during the COVID times, when everything shut down, that whole industry closed down and it forced me to find something else. My wife does the same thing. So both of us lost our income. We were very lucky that we'd put some savings aside and that we were able
Right.
to live off of that. But it highlighted to me, and my wife still loves doing that. She's got no interest in sitting in front of a computer. She loves being outside,
Okay.
and that's fine. So for me, but that's not fine for me.
Okay.
I'm not happy with that level of insecurity of if the tourism industry closes down again, we're
Right.
both in the same industry, and especially knowing that we're wanting to start a family,
Right.
I can't for me that level of insecurity isn't acceptable. So I during that COVID time, I was actively looking for something else that I could do from anywhere that would allow me to work from anywhere.
Yep.
And off the back of that, I've actually started doing some online sales and marketing stuff. So
Right.
that's how I'll kind of leave it at that because I don't, and oftentimes if people are interested in that, I think that was how this conversation with this lady who I was skiing with started. I said, oh, I do some online sales and marketing stuff. And she went, oh, what do you do? Because she said, what's the company you work with? And I said, oh, it's actually a company that produce water ionizers. I said, have you heard anything about that? And she said, oh yeah. She said, I've seen these little bottles that you get with a little, you press a button on them and it makes bubbles go through. Uh,
Ah,
yeah, kind of like that sort of thing. I said it's the same sort of principle, but yeah, that kind of idea.
okay.
And then she'd started telling me about her health stuff and all the rest of it. So yeah, I'll generally say I'm an outdoor instructor, and through COVID,
Okay.
I realized that actually I needed something else. So since then, I've retrained and I've learned how to do some sales and marketing stuff online. And sometimes that opens a conversation, sometimes it doesn't. And yeah.
Okay. So one question that I like to ask a lot of my stars is, if let's say Tristan, you know everything that you know about Energic and about the beauty of the business, and you get to go back to day one that you found Energic again. Is there anything you will want to do differently?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Is there anything that with what you know now, now you're 5A, right? So you
Mm.
and coming to 6A. So if you get a second chance to rewind this chapter, this journey,
Mm.
is there anything that you will do differently?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would, once I started, so I followed a system
Okay.
that got me results. And they
Okay.
did that really quickly, really. When I started actually applying it within 6 months, I built enough of a team to get to 4A.
Okay.
And at that point, I started experimenting with different systems, doing different
Uh,
things. So if I was to go back and I was to speak to myself when I was at that point of hitting 4A, I would say, Tristan, you have a system that works.
don't look elsewhere.
Don't mess about with it. Don't try
Okay.
and change anything.
Right.
Things are going to get busier. And I think part of it is that I got to that place and I was like, well, I can do all this stuff now. So let's try and innovate and let's try and make it better. And I didn't need to. Actually, I could have just kept going with the exact same thing that I was doing. And I think
Mm.
this is the almost the most challenging thing that I think that I see in a lot of people is just doing the same thing
Yeah.
and just saying, this is now the thing that I do, and it just needs to become a part of who I am.
Right.
And with that, I don't need to change anything else. It's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to snowball. And there's going to be new jobs that come along with that. You know, you're going to need to learn how to manage a team. You're going to
Right.
need to learn how to lead a community.
Right.
Those things will come in, but don't stop doing the foundation. Don't stop doing the basics. Because actually, when you're leading a team, the best way to lead a team is to keep showing them how to turn up.
Right.
When you're leading a community, the best thing you can do is to keep showing them how to turn up. And the only way you can do that is if you're still doing the basics, you're still doing the foundation, and you just keep doing that same thing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a golden tip there. A lot of people want to reinvent the wheel. And
Mm.
after all the things that they go through, all the hassle they found out, just stick with what that works, right? That's a very important thing that people need to understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tristan, last few questions. Wow, time just fly by just like that when we are having fun, right? Okay, so Tristan, there are a lot of people who tells me that they get burnt out, because of especially on their journey on social media. Like every day they need to do posting and there's a lot of thing, answering to people and on the screen and all that. Do you face that kind of challenges like too overwhelmed or too burnt out doing um online stuff or
Um,
how?
dogs. Sorry,
All right, no
dogs
worries.
in the background. This is
Okay.
the reality of running a home business. Hey.
It's okay. You have dogs, I have kids
Yeah,
running around.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, do I ever feel it? I
Yeah.
Yeah, in honesty, I do.
Okay.
I do. And one of the things that I know works for me is setting a is having a day each week where I go and I do switch off more. I might not necessarily always say I'm having a complete digital detox day,
Okay.
but I'll intentionally say, right, I'm going out for a full day adventure in the mountains. I'm going to go for a 6 hour run in the mountains and go
Okay.
away all day, or I'm going to go out ski touring with my wife and enjoy being out in nature. Um, there's been seasons where
Mhm.
I've not done that, and I've said, I'm just going to be intentional with keeping going. Dogs, stop it. Come here.
Mm.
Yeah, there's been seasons where I've said I'm gonna not do that, and I'm
Okay.
I'm almost going into a sort of zone in mode where I'm just gonna do like a business sprint, for
Okay.
example.
Okay.
I've gone through seasons like that, and that's worked. But for the long term,
Okay.
I know that I work better when I have some time where I can switch off,
Just
and
switch it off.
I also, on those days, I'm saying actually. social media, you don't get me today. I'm
That's
doing
good.
me today, and I'm spending time with myself. And I'll still take some nice photos, and I
Right.
might share them the next day or the next week or what have you. But yeah, I think it is from my early that first 6 months where I was just focused on being good for me.
Right.
That's something that I continue to come back to, and sometimes I forget to
Okay.
look after myself properly. And the reality is, if I am looking after myself properly, if I am putting myself first,
Mhm.
then I can continue to turn up and I can continue to give and to share.
I see. I see. Okay, so that means the point is that you cannot be all the time online, right? So you
Mm.
actually takes days off that you completely shut the thing, and then after when you finish your thing, then you get the thing back again, right?
Mm. And I think the great thing with that, even hearing you speak about it there, Gary, is that my ads will still be running in the background.
Okay.
So
Do you
there's
do you need to follow up? Like do you need to do the one-to-one call, that kind of thing?
Yeah, for sure. So the way the ads work is they'll come through a form and they'll end up then on a Trello board. So it's like
Okay.
it's a piece of software where they fill in a form and their details then land in a
Right.
card that
Right.
then gets stored there.
Okay.
So if I'm having a day off where
Right.
I'm not going to go in and do that, that card will sit there and then I'll come back to it the next day.
Right.
So
Right.
I'll still be able to connect with that person. I'll still be able to have that conversation. The
Right.
systems that are in the background are still running. When they sign through to that, they're automatically being sent emails straight off the back of that anyway. So if they do then want to book a call, they can have access to my calendar so that they can actually book a call for the next day, next couple of days, anytime
Right.
within the next week.
Right.
So there's certain things like that that are more automated. But like I said to you before, the most impactful thing is having, I mean, I know for myself, the 2 years that I was searching for something to do online before I found this,
Mhm.
I went through so many automated conversations, automated webinars, automated things. So when somebody then comes back to me and they actually say, "Hey Tristan, how's it going? Thanks for filling in a form.
Uh,
Do you want to get started with stuff? Let's book a call in together." And I'm like, "Oh wow, there's a real
there's a
person."
human being there.
Yeah, it's like, wow, that was a surprise.
Right.
So
Right.
that principle still is so powerful,
Right.
and for people to see that actually there's a real person there
Okay.
who really cares and actually is keen to have a conversation and to share some information, um, I it's a really powerful thing.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Last question for you, Tristan. If somebody is here listening to you, they have no idea, their life is probably stuck, or yeah, probably in a rat race job. What's your advice to this person, that they can also be somebody like you, have freedom, and can do this business online just like you? What's your advice for them?
I would say take the next step,
Okay.
whatever that next step is. You
Okay.
don't need to look at the whole thing. Because if you look at the whole thing of, oh,
To
well, I
be
don't know how to
overwhelmed.
do this, I don't know how to do that, I need to find this and find that, it's completely overwhelming.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just say, I know this is something that I want,
Right.
I'm going to lean into that and I'm going to take the next step. And it might be that you sign up for a training platform to learn something. It might be that you reach out to that person and just send them a message. It might be that you've already learned about this opportunity and you're sitting there going, oh, should I, shouldn't I, shouldn't I?
Ah,
Go and find finance for it. And you don't even need to get it if it's not available or if it feels uncomfortable, but you might go and apply for that credit, and
right.
they might come back and go, "Oh yeah, we're going to give you 15 grand, and actually we're not even going to charge you any interest for it, and you don't have to pay it back for 2 years." And at that point, the way
Right.
that you look at it
Yes.
might suddenly change. So taking the next step, if we don't take the next step, we stay where we are. That's a guarantee. So taking the next step, it might just be that that gives us more information. It might be that that's actually saying, I've got the money there. Let's go all in and let's really change my life.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Powerful. Thank you so much, Tristan. Yeah, guys. So I hope today's session you get this one golden tip. Take the next step, because sometimes if you try to look at the whole ladder, then it's like wow, wow, how far? Just like climbing the mountain, right?
Mm,
If you look at the tip of the mountain and you're gonna go, wow, that is so high. That mountain is so difficult to climb. But if you just take one step at a time, sooner or later, I'm sure you'll reach the top.
mm.
So once again, thank you, Tristan. Any last words you want to share with our audience today, from where you are coming from, how you are seeing in Magic? Any last words you want to tell the audience here today?
I think actually just hearing you almost repeat back that same advice that you just said there,
Yeah.
when I look at you and I see the journey that you've gone on, it would be very easy for me to say, "Oh, Gary Gan, like how could I ever get to where Gary Gan is? How could I manage a team of people that much? How could I get to that place? How could I have the beautiful places that he lives up in the mountains in Malaysia? And like how can I ever create that?" The reality is I just need to take the next step. And it's just the same thing. And even hearing you there say like, this is the way to the top. I know your catchphrase is like, "See you at the top," and
You at
it's
the top, yeah.
and that's just it. We each have, for somebody else, you might be watching this now, and you might look at Gary and think, "Well, that's so far removed." But maybe you can look at me and you can look at me and say, "Oh, that's actually not that far away."
Mm.
All that I've done is I've just taken a few more steps. So if you take the next step today, you're going to be that one step closer to where I am. In the same way that if I take the next step today, I'm going to be that one step closer to where Gary is.
Yeah, amazing. So once again, thank you, Tristan, for your time today. I know your dogs are waiting to play with you at the background. They are waiting for attention. Okay, so guys, I hope you all get value from today's interview with the stars. Many sometimes listening is one thing, but when you hear somebody's story and you can relate to it, that's another thing. And I'm very sure there are a lot of things you can take off from today's interview with the stars, especially the taking one step at a time. Because just like, yeah, I mean, when I look back 14 years ago, it's like, I didn't know. I mean, I didn't even know how big it can go. It was like me being a high school graduate, no any special advantage, no connection, nothing. But today, when I look at my life today compared to where I started, again, same thing. It's just taking that one step reaching that 2A, 3A, 4A, starting Thailand and Vietnam and Indonesia and China, and boom, and suddenly things just fall into place. Just taking that one step at a time, take that action. And I'm very sure, hearing where you are coming from, I'm very sure, Tristan, you'll be hitting a lot of milestone coming soon your way. And one thing that I like to share also before we end this session is to be grateful every single day, because whatever it is, especially if you have Enagic with Kangen Water and the business and all that, we are one of the 0.0001% of people who are really blessed with this opportunity,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
amazing, so amazing. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Tristan, will you be in the Tenerife event in February next month?
I'm not sure yet.
Oh,
Not sure. We're in the process of organizing a retreat around that time as well, so we're not sure exactly where it's going to be yet. We're still finalizing plans for it,
right.
but
Okay. So if you
yeah,
are there, I'll see you in person. If you are not, no worries. Either I'm in France or you come over to Asia. All right.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And thank you again so much, Gary, for having me on here. It's been a real pleasure. So
The pleasure is ours. Thank you for sharing all your golden nuggets to us.